Welcome to the Influencer Collective podcast. My name is Catherine. This is the strongest community of social media influencers around the world, giving you practical, actionable steps to propel your influence. André is the co-creator and co-owner of Movie Showtime, which is a massive Instagram account with over 3.6 million followers. The most incredible part of that story, though, and the reason that I really wanted to share his story with all of you, is that his audience grew to its crazy size, overtaking many celebrities and top influencers in the Instagram space today in less than 1 year. Much of what he shared in our interview is top secret industry knowledge. This is the kind of stuff many people pay for in the form of online courses, coaching sessions, and André has been kind enough to share a lot of this information with you. Since he so recently grew his page, his advice is highly advanced and the most up-to-date and relevant information you could possibly get. I'm excited to share his in-depth expert techniques in today's episode. So today I'm joined by André. He owns the Instagram account Movie Showtime, which grew to 3.6 million followers in just 1 year. So congratulations on all of that success. And I am so curious to know, and I know the audience is going to be so curious to know about all of the things you did to achieve that, because it can't be easy. And it's not something I've seen a lot, for sure. I feel like a lot of people that I contact and a lot of people I get into contact with just get excited about 10 followers or 10,000 followers on Instagram. And so getting that amount in 1 year is really amazing. And I'm sure you have a lot that you can share that will help a lot of people that may be struggling or stuck with their own Instagram accounts. So I was hoping you could walk us through your personal background a little bit, and then why you started Movie Showtime, and then kind of what that account is all about.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you about the congratulations, but like how it started, like it started back in December, because like before Instagram, I was like all invested into like e-commerce and like trying to do drop shipping. So I would be in all of these like e-commerce groups. I would like join like anything that had to do with Shopify and like how to grow your e-commerce store. So I actually, just by mistake, I saw like a guy that was commenting on somebody's post and said that he had a following on Instagram, and this was just such a big coincidence. But this guy was the owner of Hot Vocals. That's another really big page that's currently at 7.4 million followers. So the owner of Hot Vocals was in the same e-commerce group as me. So I just happened to see that he was also from Sweden, because I live in like a really small village in Sweden that's like quite remote. So it's probably like 1 or 2 hours from Stockholm. So I saw that he was living quite like near me. So I just happened to I tried to contact him through Facebook, and then I didn't get a response for like, I'd say, like 10 hours or something. So I just tried emailing him straight to his Hot Vocals account, because I knew that people were getting paid. So I was thinking like he's probably gonna read that email. So he just responded, like I think this was like in the middle of the night, at probably like maybe like 2 a.m. I emailed him, and he answered me like right away. And I basically just asked like, hey, do you want to meet up and like talk about Shopify, because both of us were doing e-commerce. And so the next day I like took my car and went to his office, and we started talking about e-commerce and like just vibing, just talking about like business in general. And yeah, like I didn't have much success in e-commerce, to be honest with you. So like I like pretty much straight up asked him if I could work for him for free with Hot Vocals that he ran. Like at that point, I think it had like something like 5.9 million followers when I met him, and like I didn't really know anything about Instagram. So that's how like I came into the whole space. And yeah, so as far as like, yeah, it's good. It's kind like it's such a big coincidence. Like, so he obviously became like my mentor for all of this. So it started out like we started working in like a co-office space for probably like a month, and like I think I did maybe like two or three edits for her vocals, and like it's so difficult to like get into like it's so hard to get into the editing at first because he had come so far, and he was also looking for somebody that could like help him out and just make content, right? But it was so hard to get into it from the beginning. So like I didn't really join him on the account itself. We just worked together in an office. Then what happened was that like obviously he already grew a big account from learning how to go viral on IG and everything like that. So he spotted a trend. He was the one that spotted that movie scenes were going viral. So I wrote an article on this that I know you've read.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it's a great article.
yeah, so
I will link it
basically,
in
yeah,
the
cool. So
description.
yeah, but he basically spotted this account that's called at Netflix TV Posts with an S, and he saw that he was just like his clip was just going so viral. Like
Mhm.
we felt like for no particular like reason, it was just like movie clips, and so he kind of spotted that trend. So this is now January, like January 2018, and and we just he felt like we should probably start like an account like this because he had like the basics down. Like he knew like how memes worked and like how you could caption your clips and this whole thing. So that's how it came about. Like that's the story of how it came about. Like he spotted the trend that was going on, and we just jumped on the wave when it has just had started pretty much.
So kind of being aware of what's going on Instagram, what people like, what's going viral. So he kind of was able to show you all of the applications to use and what to edit, and kind of how did you convince him to help let you work for free? Well, actually, and why did you decide to only work for free? Why didn't you
Yeah,
say, hey, hire me as an employee?
yeah. This is quite funny, right? Like before I even like did started e-commerce, I was so like invested to watching. I think a lot of people know him, like Gary Vaynerchuk, like Gary V. So I
Yeah.
would watch him, like I would just binge watch everything that he talked about. So like he was always talking about like when you have nothing, like you have to build leverage with like the person you're trying to get to. So like I knew that like I have no leverage with like my business partner now is Robert, and he works with he's the guy that grew Hot Vocals. So like I knew that like I have no leverage with him, like he doesn't even know me. So like for me to come and say like I want to be part of this and I also want to take something from you felt like I had so much more leverage if I just said like, yeah, can I work for free? And I also had the luxury of living at home. So like I had no real like expense. So like the only expense for me would be like taking the bus, you know?
You didn't expect payment because you knew that you were going to learn something that was going to help
I
long term.
exactly. I really felt like this is like I really feel like marketing is there's just so much with Instagram right now that's happening. Like I really
Yeah.
saw the vision for it. I really saw the vision. Like I probably saw the vision like 6 months before, but I didn't really find anybody that was into like this type of thing where I live, because like Sweden isn't that big. We have like 10, 11 million people. So I mean, it was quite, yeah,
Right.
like such a coincidence.
So
Yes.
even if just for our listeners, I mean, even if you don't live in Los Angeles, it's still
Hmm.
possible to find someone um, that
Yeah,
can
it
kind
is.
and especially with the internet, I mean, you can find people that have done exactly what you want to do.
Exactly, like just the model of going into like a meeting or with somebody and saying like I will just work for free and like I will figure it out on my end. But I'll do anything. Like I'll commute every day. Like I would also have to commute for like, and I still do. I actually still commute for like 1 hour and 15 minutes, like to go there to the office. So yeah, like
Oh,
reaching out to people that has come further and working for free is like so good.
yeah. So, okay, so he and so I guess what he said and to you and what you have said, especially in the article um, that you wrote. And so you wrote this article just kind of detailing your whole experience with your Instagram. And so I'm definitely going to link that in the description for anyone that wants to read further about your Instagram and your growth. But one thing that you wrote a lot about in the article that I thought was really important was going viral and how that is not just random. And
Right,
I know
right,
I hear a lot of people say, oh, like that person just got lucky. He got one piece of content go viral, and so now he's got all of these followers.
right.
When in reality, I think a lot of times virality is something you can study and it's something that you can manufacture to a certain extent. So I'd like to talk a little bit about that and how you curate your posts to make sure that they are potentially going to go viral.
Yeah, so like what you said to a certain extent, and that's exactly what it is. Like it's not 100%. Like this is not like 100%. Like I use the term manufacturing because the thing, especially with Instagram, is that you have such good like data feedback. So for the, I don't know if everybody hasn't switched on their business profile, but once you switch on your business profile on your Instagram account, it takes like 1 week, and then all of your posts starts gaining insights. So you will see like how many people came from the explore page, how many people came from the hashtags on every post, and like how many followers did this specific piece of content convert. Some pieces of content convert 1,000 followers, some convert 300, some converted up to 15,000 followers. So like when it comes to virality, I'd say it's so different from each platform, but especially on Instagram, it's you can manufacture it a lot more because once you post, okay, so like once you start getting some traction, one really good, I wouldn't say hack, but like something that's really useful is using engagement groups. I know a lot of people are familiar with, but
Mm-hmm.
most important thing with engagement groups is that they like your post fast, and that they like the post like preferably within 5 to 10 minutes, because once somebody likes your post then is put on their followers explore page, and that's where you start getting all this exposure from the engagement groups. And so as far as like manufacturing, I'd say like on Instagram you can use the like for like feature, especially if you can get into bigger and bigger groups with bigger accounts. Your post will, as soon as you post it, it will go out on so many more people's explore pages. And once you figure that out and you have the like engagement groups down, now you should really start playing around with thumbnails, because like I've been like screaming about this for a while now. Like I feel like on YouTube people are so concerned about their thumbnails, but on Instagram you just kind of like make your clip and then you just use like Instagram's feature to select a cover photo.
Mhm.
Like people don't see the value in thumbnails on Instagram for some reason, but I'd say it's probably more important, because the place where you're actually going to gain followers is on the explore page, and your thumbnail and your video is going to compete with hundreds of videos in like a small feed. And that's really special about Instagram, that's not happening on YouTube. So like you actually have to optimize your post to go out and fight with other posts. Like your post has to be so good with the thumbnails. Like like something I would do to like try to bring value here is like if I find a clip, or even for people that is in the personal branding space, before you make your piece of content, I would like so recommend to like start with a thumbnail in mind first. Like when I source clips like on YouTube or whatever, I will
Mhm.
always think like, okay, so how will this be presented on the Explore page? I wrote this in my article. Like I would say, how I determine my thumbnail is the one frame in the video that like explains the most interesting part in 1 second or something like that. So like just finding that one frame that just tells a great story.
No, I don't want to interrupt you, but so you said so much good stuff, so I want to make sure that we dissect all of it.
Slow me down.
So the first thing you said was about changing your account to a business profile, and I know that
Right.
I have heard some rumors. There are a couple of rumors about Instagram that I feel like people
Not
just
true.
hear it from other people and think that it
Yeah.
might be true, and it's hard to Instagram's so secretive about a lot of their algorithms and stuff, and so it's hard to know sometimes what's real and what's a rumor. And one thing I've heard about changing to a business account that I think you'll have to let me know what you think about this, but I've heard this several times where people think that if you change to a business account, you will have less of a reach than if as a personal account.
No. Like,
Total rumor.
No. Yeah, it's a rumor. Honestly, like I was concerned about this too, but like both, like, I mean, all of our accounts uses business. Like, if anything, business is gonna give you the insights, so you actually can start like experimenting well.
Right. I feel like even if it does do a little bit to your reach, the value you get from the insights is just too important. But I don't think it does because every celebrity and every big account has a business account.
No. So, like we had the craziest, most viral videos all year. And like I can't even count like how many posts that like reached over like 5-10 million views. Like, and everything was on business. I mean, this was switched to business profile. Yeah.
Super important to switch to business. Okay, and so the other thing you were talking about was engagement groups. So I think you were talking about I think that there are ways to use engagement groups to the fullest potential. And I think what you were kind of hitting on was that if you get an engagement group with people that are larger accounts than yours, then that's going to be really valuable if they're liking your posts. Because the Instagram recognizes if a million follower account likes your photo, that's going to carry much more weight in the algorithm than like 100 follower account.
Yeah, it's that it's also that they just have like a sheer amount of followers that will like there will be more people on their Explore page that will see your content. I just have to like touch on this real quick. This is something that a lot of people, I think, I don't know if people thought about this, but this is something that people don't talk about. Like once you get a big account, like you basically control everybody's Explore feed. Like I feel pretty much like I'm the god of our followers' Explore feed. Like that's kind of funny because like basically the algorithm says if this, like for a follower, for example, if somebody's following me, the algorithm says if this person is following Movie Showtime, and once I like something with our big account, then the algorithm says, oh, if he's liking this, then you must also like have a chance to like what he likes, you know? So that's when my post is put on the Explore page because you already follow me, so like you're probably gonna like what I like too because you like me. So that's one thing that's so super powerful. Like you basically control the Explore feed.
Yeah, I like what you said about so Instagram kind of thinks about as a big account what you or as any account honestly your followers Explore page is somewhat dictated by what you like because they think, oh, like if my friend likes this account, then I'm also going to like this account.
Yes, that's super true. Yeah.
Okay, so then we also started to get a little bit into kind of the curation of your posts in specific. And so you talked about, so the way that if you guys have not looked up his Instagram yet, I think it's really something interesting to look at, especially as someone trying to grow on Instagram, because everything's very intentional. So the way that you curate each post, everything has a purpose. So the way he does it is he has a movie clip, and then he has a watermark of his Instagram handle. And then there's a caption on the top that's in big text. I'm sure you guys have seen this everywhere. It's kind of a newer style of meme. Everyone's doing this, where it's the big text with some emojis. And then the caption is also a part of, this intentionality of curating these posts. And so the caption oftentimes will have some sort of, well, let's back up. I want to go over what you were talking about. So when you're doing videos, thumbnails definitely really important, because you're able to select that, and that's the first thing people are going to see is that thumbnail. And then also the caption, I guess, is also that huge caption that you have on top of your clips.
Huge.
Is also part of the thumbnail, because people can kind of read that a little bit.
Can I touch on thumbnail? Thumbnail real quick, just to bring some value, because because like I know this is something like, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but like the thumbnail for most Instagram, like big accounts, usually, like when I'm editing, like I use Final Cut Pro on Mac, but when I'm editing, I usually screenshot like the best part of the clip, and then I like up the brightness, I up saturation and the contrast and everything in Photoshop, and then I put the picture back into my edit and put it in like as the first part of the clip, and then I just drag it down so it's just like 0.2 seconds long, so it just looks like it's a part of the clip, but I like put it in there to use later.
Right. How do you pick what movie scenes to pick? Is it just based on kind of pop culture and what's popular?
Yeah, I'd say it's just based on the audience. Like most of both Hot Vocals and the movie Showtime have a lot of female followings. We have like about like 70 or 75% female. So, and younger ones. So it's a lot of like, romantic kind of like stuff. So that's what works. And
that's important. So you kind of look at your audience demographics, and you're able to gear your content towards something that that they're going to like, based on their age and their gender and all the information, maybe their location too. All of that information you get from audience insights.
Yeah, absolutely. I like really like curate and like edit all my content based on what my audience looks like.
Yeah.
Like even if I like I would probably prefer maybe some more like action style clips, but I know that's not going to perform as well for our audience, so I'm not going to feed them. I'm not going to put that in our feed.
And okay, something that I think you do with your captions really well is you say you engage people, you purposely write things that are going to promote good engagement. So more comments, more tags. Like your most recent post says tag your best friend, and that's something I can definitely see being useful. And maybe you can talk a little bit more about what you decide to put in your captions. But if you say tag your best friend in the caption and you have 200 comments all tagging someone new, then those are new people coming to your page.
So are we talking about like the captions in like the white part, or are we talking about the descriptions like below the video?
I was talking about the descriptions below the video.
Oh yeah, so the descriptions, yeah. I mean, I try to play around with those. Like one thing I think is super important, especially for like meme style accounts, is like know how to like speak your audience language. I think I touched on that in the article. Like I try to talk like a 14-year-old girl. Like sometimes, like I would say things that like I probably wouldn't say in real life. Like I'm not sure if I'm gonna come up with an example now, but like for one thing I always do, I always write with, how do you say this in English? Like lowercase like letters. Like I never use like big. Like that's one thing that like teenagers do. Like they just kind of sound like they're a bit in a mood,
Well, you guys post, I mean, like twice a day. It's pretty regular, so I could see that being a lot of work.
Yeah, well, we're actually three owners of the account, but
Mhm.
Robert, that started with me like in the beginning. He doesn't like he's posted like a few pieces, but he doesn't post that much on this account. He mostly posts for hot vocals. So me and another guy that's called Luis are frequently posting on this.
That's something I get a lot of questions about is how often should you post? Is so do you think that because this is more of a meme account, it's works in your favor to post a lot, or do you think someone with a personal brand should be pushing to post as much as they can?
Like I can't stress this enough. People need to post more.
Mm.
Like honestly, with all the algorithm tweaks that are happening now, like people are complaining about like the algorithm is not giving me as much reach, and I've like we've felt it too. Like we have definitely felt it. The only way to tackle it is more quality content. Like you need to post. It obviously depends what niche you're in, but in general, I would just recommend like at least three clips per day if you're really going at this serious.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I think consistency as well, posting as frequently as you can, um, because I think I don't know because I do have interactions with people with these personal accounts that uh, go maybe 2 weeks without posting, but then they have 5 photos. Do you think that there should be some consistency as well to the
Yeah.
volume?
Obviously, yeah, 100%. Like consistency, like the algorithm will reward consistency too. That's almost with all platforms, I'd say. Like your posts are gonna start to do better if you're consistent.
Right, right. So, okay, so posting more, posting with consistency. What else have we talked about? We talked about a lot. We've talked about manufacturing virality. We've talked about knowing your audience, not audience insights. So, what are the future plans for all of this? You talked about maybe going to some new platforms.
Yeah, I was thinking of like right now we're trying to expand to more YouTube and do like trailers and put up trailers. There are quite a few trailer accounts. We've been talking to some people that do that. And yeah, we're just basically trying to like one thing we're trying to do is just make it more like a brand. So for example, on hot vocals we work with a couple of guys in Stockholm also, so we're trying to make up like concepts for each account where we can sell these like sell concepts to brands where they can advertise. So it's more like a brand thing. So for hot vocals we have one thing that's called Friday Fire. So on every Friday there's like a little show for like a minute in the stories. It's just a couple of stories. I think you can see it in the highlights. They're usually saved there.
Mhm.
We basically have like a show where brands can put basically like plug their ads, and we make a show out of it. So it's like this highlights the new music that's coming out, and then labels can put in their artists and stuff to promote.
Oh, okay. That touched on something else I was wondering about, which I also get a ton of questions about. Is how to once you have an audience, how do you monetize? Especially something like your account, Movie Showtime. It's all movie clips. So initially, I'm thinking, okay, well, that's not really something traditional. Like, a beauty influencer. It's obvious that they're able to work with beauty brands and makeup brands, but something like
Yeah.
Movie Showtime, I'm like, okay, what kind of brands would work with movie trailer account? And so you talked about you run advertisements in the stories for like music
Yeah. Yeah,
artists.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So it's basically labels that has artists that they want to promote and like their new songs and releases. So for the movie page, uh, the first sponsor we had reaching out to us was from an agency that was working with Lionsgate. So they're a big like movie production company.
They're
So they
huge.
will, yeah. So they will basically buy posts from us because they're doing their media like, yeah, just doing their controlling all of their purchases on like Instagram. So they will buy a post from us, and we will sponsor their new, some old, but some of their new releases as well.
That makes sense.
So yeah,
Do you?
that was, yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was wondering. I get, because I know a lot of people that are probably listening right now and that are in my Facebook group. I feel like it's kind of there's an awkward stage that you get to where it's like, when is the right time to monetize? When do I know my audience is big enough and my posts are getting enough traction that I should be reaching out to brands? Or like, so how did that kind of work with Movie Showtime? Did you get to a certain point, 10,000 followers, and then you said, okay, now I'm ready to make advertisements? Or how did that kind of work?
Honestly, it was kind of special because like we were growing at such crazy rate. Like at best, I think we were doing like 20 to 30,000 followers per day for like a pretty long time.
Oh my gosh.
So like, yeah, so when we were growing at that rate, we were just thinking like, let's just build this audience now and focus on monetizing later, because we will be able to do that. But there was like a certain point, I'd say, like, I mean, we probably put our first ad at 1 million, but that's pretty uncommon, I'd say. This was like a special case because we were growing so much. But we had people reaching out all the way from like probably like 200K, 100K. Like people are sending DMs to you and want to collaborate when they see
Wow.
you building an audience. But as far as like when to start monetizing, like I'd say it's completely up to you. But as far as like, just try to not do ads with people that you're like, that you wouldn't, that you don't like yourself, because you don't want to be, as soon as you get the like feel like a sellout and people start seeing you as a sellout, like they don't fuck with you no more, you know.
Right. I agree.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
you want
so
to be
like,
authentic about what you're promoting and feel like you really back up.
actually, can I touch on that real quick?
Sure.
Because like, I'm so like, I care about my audience so much. Like I feel like I will take a bullet from my audience sometimes. Like I will, like, I don't want to put there. Actually, there are a lot of drop shipping stores reaching out to pages, and I think a lot of people from the group too know that there are people that's like, um, have people reaching out with like fire emojis in their like DMs, like how much for a paid 24-hour shout out. So like a lot of drop shipping stuff and stuff that I don't believe in, and like I would never put that on my page, because like that's what selling out really is. And if the content is not good for the feed, like I will not put it either. So like a lot of times I try to talk to the advertiser and be like, okay, cool, you want to do advertising? Could I maybe like be involved in the copy? Like, could I maybe do something? Could I maybe like edit the video for you, or could I maybe make a compilation for you? Like, can we work something out? Because I want to make the content good for the feed. Because like one thing I think people should do in general is like make the advertised content like really good for the feed, because then it's almost doesn't even look like it's promoted. Like I'd say a lot of ads that we do like kind of sneak past people, because like it just looks like normal content, because I edited it like I would, for example, like the Lionsgate stuff. I would still put the captions on. Like I've talked to them like we should still do the captions, like, you know.
Right. Yeah, all of your posts look like the same. They all have that
Yeah,
same
like for
look.
example, now that we're talking about it, for Showtime right now, like the second, the one that's posted second, the second most recent, sorry, is sponsored. So that like that looks like a normal post.
It does.
That's Lionsgate.
Yeah,
So
amazing.
I mean, it just kind of passes through. Like
Yeah,
it
and
doesn't selling out.
still got good engagement.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's all right. So like we've gotten crazy. Like I think we got in like our best sponsor post got like 3 million views from just doing this with the captions and everything.
Well, I think it's advantageous for the brand to. I think it's good for the brand too to have you create the content for them because, first of all, you know your audience, you know how to make a
Yes,
good
that's
post,
so big.
and it's going to be better for them, and they don't have to do any work, and they can pay you more money.
Exactly. Yeah, you can pitch them on that too. Like if you do the creative, that like I think there a lot of times want to pay for that too, because like they don't want to be bothered like sometimes to do that.
So,
So
so I think we went over a lot of good stuff today. I think just to kind of wrap it up, I'd like to leave the audience with just because I know a lot of our audience members, they don't, or pretty much all of the audience members, I can say, anyone
yeah,
that was listening to this probably does not have 3.6 million followers. So what's something that you would say to a really small account comparatively?
yeah,
That
100%. Like
maybe at 1,000 followers that just wants to get to 2,000 followers. What's the number one piece of advice you would give to someone that's just trying to grow a little bit faster?
100%. Let's bring some real value here. Like um, I'd say like from 0 to 10K, probably the best strategy is just if you're a personal brand, I would just try to reach out people like through DMs. So like try to reach out and like start engaging with them. That's a really good way to start off. That combined with already like finding people that have set up engagement groups already. So
Right.
like sometimes it's hard to get in an engagement group, but like something that I think also is underrated. Like if you have just a bit of money, like I mean like $20. I know Robert did this for Hot Vocals when he started. Like he would pay some guys to get into the engagement groups, like the ones with a little bigger accounts, like that had like 100K. Like that's a good one. I think I don't think people think about that. So if you were to like just message somebody that has like 50 100K like in your space, like tell them like, hey, like are you in an engagement group, could I join, like I'm willing to pay some, like
Right.
a lot of, yeah, that's good. And like especially in that 0 to 10K range, hashtags pretty much work. Like I don't use them anymore, but in that range you can really start to rank on hashtags if you have good engagement. So like number one would be like start hitting up people on DM and start liking each other's stuff. Try to get into engagement groups to be able to keep doing the like for likes and get more engagement for the explore page. And then try to start cycling hashtags on your post, because like when nobody knows you, like you need to like have some sort of traffic from somewhere. So like that's where you can start to rank, because like when you start having some other people liking your stuff, you're gonna rank higher on the hashtags, and that way more people are gonna see you.
Okay, so definitely joining engagement groups, using hashtags, and those two things, and interacting with other people. Those are kind of the really important things to do to grow your account. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that podcast episode with the interview with André from Movie Showtime. I know I found it really insightful and interesting to talk to someone that had achieved so much success on Instagram in such a short period of time. And one thing I want to do every single week is answer one of your questions, either from the YouTube comments or from my Facebook group page. So please leave a question in the YouTube comments if you'd like me to answer them. But this week I'm going to be answering a question from Fianca, who is a moderator on my Facebook group, and she does a lot of hard work in helping us run the group smoothly and make sure it's a place of value for you guys. So go follow Fianca. I will link her Instagram down in the description. She does a lot of really cool, interesting makeup looks. She's a really talented makeup artist. So her question about Instagram is, I would like to know how you decided to join Instagram in the first place. So thank you for your question, Fianca. And I am assuming you're talking about my Instagram I started 6 months ago called Kat Fairbanks, the one with 12,000 followers. And that one I started because I had a personal Instagram that I used for my photography business. I do a little bit of photography on the side, wedding photography, portrait photography, that sort of thing. And I really saw how much value Instagram and Facebook in particular had for growing my small business. And I knew I wanted to be more of a part of that space. I think that I've always been passionate about small businesses and the idea that you can have a career based on what you love. And I think Instagram is one of those places that really helps people do that, because you can create your content about something that you're really passionate about. And so I wanted to create this community online where we came together as people that were aspiring influencers to really learn about Instagram, learn how to make money doing what we love. And that's why I kind of started the Kat Fairbanks account. That's why I started the Facebook group, Influencers on Instagram. And I really like having this community where we can kind of put our heads together and learn from each other and help us get to our goals as personal brands and small businesses faster, and make some money doing something that we're really passionate about. And so next week I will be talking to someone. I'm really excited about this interview. He runs a marketing agency where he helps influencers grow their social media accounts, and he's got some really interesting, insightful tips for all of you, and advice on how to grow your personal brands, especially because most of his clients, I believe, are personal brands. So it'll be an exciting interview. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel to stay up to date on all of our new content, and I will see you guys next week.